We got some breaking news. The Las Vegas Raiders have gone out and they have signed linebacker Germaine Pratt to a one-year deal worth $4.25 million. Pratt can also earn an additional $500,000 in incentives, so a total of up to $4.7 million. My name is Mitchell Renz. I am host of the Raiders Report, and when breaking news happens, I promise you, I got you covered. I was literally getting ready to leave work for the day, but you know what? The Raiders' Pete Carroll said, Mitch, we're not letting you leave yet. And if you're just like me and you don't give a shit that it's June 11th, when the Raiders make a move, I want to be able to sit up here and I want to be able to talk about it. So to the over 1,000 people that are watching this live right now, huge shout out to you. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to break down ultimately why I believe the Raiders ended up signing Germaine Pratt. Then at the end of the show, I'll kind of talk about some of the other linebackers that I think it impacts the most. And then at the very, very end of the show, I want to tell you all about the player who also came in on a visit today for the Raiders. Big name guy. So the first reason of why I believe that the Raiders went out and got Germaine Pratt, to me this says that they thought that their linebacker room was a weak linebacker room. And, you know, you think about like rookie minicamp, right? For them to sign a guy like Jalen Smith really indicated to me, okay, maybe they're not 100% confident in this room. Then you got to Landon Roberts. I also think money talks, and everybody knows that money talks. So when you look at the contract overall, Germaine Pratt, 1 year, 4.25, let's just call it 4.7 mil. He's the highest paid linebacker on the team. They gave Landon Roberts $3 million 1 year. They gave Devin White $1.2 million. So that tells me that they believe that this guy is probably the best linebacker on their team. And one of the things that I said yesterday was, if you feel like that you can upgrade at any position, and if you feel like there's somebody out there that could be the best player on your team, somebody that could be a starter, I think you have to consider it, just because there was a lot of uncertainty around the Raiders linebacker room. And if you don't think that there was any uncertainty, man, I wish I had your confidence. Let's go to the other reason here of why I think that the Silver and Black ended up doing it. They had plenty of salary cap space to do it. Entering today, now this is not the number that we are at now. This is the number that we were at prior to the signing of Germaine Pratt. But again, you can do the math. 36.8 mil minus, let's call it 4.7, and then bada bing, bada boom, right? You got your number there. But the Raiders had money to do it. And I know it was reported by Vincent Bonsignor that the Raiders were probably not going to go out and sign anybody else. It's the other reason why I always tell people, I know how difficult it is being a beat reporter, but just because it's being reported by the Raiders beat reporters, I would take all that stuff with a grain of salt and take it all as an opinion. His opinion was wrong on that. Totally fine. My point is, I knew that there was at least a chance that the Raiders could do it. I also said, though, that I didn't think it was a very big chance that it could happen, though I do want to give a huge shout out to our social media team, and we use a platform called Slack. This is from about 3 hours ago. I wanted our guy Aiden to make one, Germaine Pratt to the Raiders, because, you know, I thought that there was a little bit more of a possibility of it happening today. There you go. You got to see a little bit of it. I got two more reasons coming up here in just a moment of why I believe the Raiders signed Pratt. And this last one down here, I think is going to be a very big, oh shit, all right, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Before I break that all down, I want a one-word reaction to the Las Vegas Raiders going out and signing Germaine Pratt. So you're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, I want you to scroll on down. Give me your one-word answer. My answer is coming up right here after this YouTube ad break. Starter. Germaine Pratt will be a starter on the Las Vegas Raiders. The money indicates that. His talent indicates that. And I think when you think about what the Raiders are looking for from an overall team standpoint, that also is right there. The Raiders love team captains. The Raiders want people that are going to put the team first, and they're going to put always, no matter what, team first. And that's what Germaine Pratt has done. He was a 2024 team captain, and if you don't think that that matters to the Las Vegas Raiders, then you didn't follow what they did in the draft. 9 out of the 11 players that Pete Carroll and John Spytek drafted this past year at least wore the C on their chest. So when you know that 9 out of the 11 players were captains, on top of the fact of, you look at the numbers that are up on screen right there, I mean, Germaine Pratt is coming off a career year in terms of tackles, 143 tackles. It is the most tackles that he's had in a career. But my biggest concern with this Raiders linebacker room was, are we going to be able to find anybody that can cover? Are we going to be able to find anybody that's a little bit different? Because I like Landon Roberts. Just don't think he's very good at covering. Devin White, I don't think he's very good at covering, right? And then this is the linebacker room before the Raiders went out, by the way, and got Germaine Pratt. Jalen Smith, not really that dude. Amari Gaynor, I liked him in coverage. Tommy Eichenberg, Lindenberg, still a little bit of TBD there. But the one thing that I think Pratt is going to be able to offer, and I know we have a list 4 PFF grade of Germaine over the past, few years, or it might be a list logo, excuse me. Essentially, Pratt is a better coverage linebacker than I think a lot of the guys that we had on our team. I would say that he's going to take Devin White's spot because I would say Landon Roberts and Pratt are your top 2 linebackers on the squad. But you're talking about a guy 3 years ago, he had a 90 overall coverage grade. In 2023, had a 60 overall coverage grade. Last season did struggle a little bit more, but to me, yes. Also, I should mention the numbers that are on the left are his overall PFF grade. That was a mistake that I made when I first built these graphics. And then the coverage grade, though, is the one that I want you to look at because he does provide some stability in terms of being a good coverage linebacker. Now, you're going to look at that and go 53.4. That's not any good. It's okay. It's definitely a little bit lower. But I'll say this. Football's a team sport, right? We all know that. The Bengals' defense last season was absolutely, positively atrocious. I mean, think about how great they were on offense. The reason why they didn't make the playoffs because the Bengals' defense looked like the Raiders' defense back when they had Damon Arnett out there on the football field. I do think Germaine Pratt, former team captain, probably the best linebacker that we have on our roster. But then let's get to the final reason here. And there's always a connection. This regime loves connections, and I didn't find a coaching connection, I'll be honest, but what I did find is a connection between 2 college teammates, Jacoby Myers and A.J. Cole. Think about the type of player in person that Jacoby Myers is. To me, he's exactly the type of man that I want being a leader on this football team, and I think it's the exact same type of player that the Raiders want. And then you got a guy that they just gave a 4-year extension to, somebody who they made the highest paid punter in the NFL, and some people might look at that and go, oh, it's just a punter. I would look at it more as Pete Carroll and John Spytek tied A.J. Cole to their entire regime with the Raiders. Pete Carroll's got 3 years with a 4th-year option. John Spytek has got 5 years with the Raiders. They gave A.J. Cole a 4-year deal or 4-year extension 1 year, so that's 5 years in total. I would be shocked if this organization, after making the move that they did today, didn't talk to Jacoby and didn't talk to A.J. Cole and just said, hey, what do you think about Germaine Pratt? Tell me what you know about him. And then today, after the second day of Raiders minicamp, they go out and they get this deal done. I am so proud of this Raiders organization for honestly operating and doing things in a smart way because they haven't done them. When you see a guy like Pete Carroll going out there, laying people's elbows. When you see the Raiders defensive assistant coach, his name's Rip, he's out there today, no shirt on, waving a shirt around, and they're firing people up. They're bringing that energy June 11th, and I can't wait to see what they do a little bit later on. This is going to be one fun offseason, but I am very, very proud that the Raiders went out and they got a player that makes them better. And I don't give a shit what anybody says. Germaine Pratt makes the Las Vegas Raiders better. If you disagree with it, I don't know how you disagree with it, quite frankly. So let's do this a little Madden style. I like playing this game a lot. And speaking of Madden, I'm going to be live on Friday. Raiders, Chiefs, FKC's down below. It's going to be a really, really big game. I want you to grade Pratt as a player and scale it for me from 1 to 100. 1, he's absolute dog shit. 100, he is the best linebacker in the National Football League. For me personally, I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to go, he's a solid 80. A solid 79, maybe an 81 overall. And I say that because, yes, the tackling numbers are impressive. The tackles for losses, the PBUs, it's all good. Though, when you look at some of his numbers from a coverage standpoint, I actually don't think that these numbers are all that bad. A quarterback rating against of 94.6, I'd actually say for how often he was targeted, it's not too bad. 2 touchdowns allowed, 494 yards overall. But to me, I believe in Germaine Pratt more than I do Devin White. I believe in Germaine Pratt more than I do Landon Roberts in the coverage game. I believe in Germaine Pratt more than any of those other young, unproven linebackers. Now, Amari Gaynor, Tommy Eichenberg, and Cody Lindenberg, they might be able to go out there and they could surprise us. But I do really, really honestly think that Germaine Pratt could be a player like like a Robert Spillane, where he's able to step in and he's able to be versatile. Because when you go and you look at Lou A, and I can never remember how to exactly pronounce the old Bengals defensive coordinator's name. He's now with the Indianapolis Colts. Let's call him Lou A. His defenses are very predicated on linebackers needing to be versatile. And Patrick Graham is going to ask Germaine Pratt to do the exact same thing. I think this also just opens up Devin White's game to just be that athlete. Let him get after the quarterback, because now to me you got Pratt, you got Landon Roberts, and you allow them to be your main linebackers. And for the Raiders who were trying to replace a Caleb Von Chase, and I know Devin White, Caleb Von Chase are very different, but the reason why I was nervous about the signing of Devin White is because to me he wasn't a three-down linebacker. Germaine Pratt and Landon Roberts can be. This now allows Devin White to be the athlete that he is, because that's what Devin White should be. Devin White should be a freaking edge rusher in today's day and age of the NFL. Now, I do want to say this. The Raiders also had a player try out today. It was made a player bio by Sam. At least that's what he told me that he made. If it's not in there, I'll just say it. But the Raiders, bingo, bango, there we go. Shaquille Griffin also was on a visit today with the Las Vegas Raiders, and I think that that's really important because, again, you go back to connections. You go back and you talk about where certain players are going to be able to go out there and where they're going to fit. So for him, this is a third-round pick in the 2017 draft. He was with the Seattle Seahawks from 2017 to 2020. I know the Raiders are still trying to figure out this nickel situation a little bit. They seem to be very confident in their outside corners, which is what Shaquille Griffin is. But if the Raiders believe that you're going to be able to add competition to a room, and if they believe that there's that connection right there, then that just seems like the cherry on top. So I know some people probably wanted the Raiders to go out and get a Jair Alexander or a trade for a Jalen Ramsey. I just think that they're a lot more confident in Eric Stokes and Darian Porter, who have been predominantly working with the ones. Jacorian Bennett still coming back to health. But Shaq Griffin was an absolute dog with the Seattle Seahawks, and the Raiders went out and they gave him an opportunity to go out and have a visit today on Wednesday. So again, the breaking news from today's show is the Las Vegas Raiders, they just went out and they signed linebacker Germaine Pratt. If you're not watching this live, pull up here to the Raiders Report Live. We're going to be sitting here talking about this, answering some questions. If you're not watching this live, make sure you pull up right now. Germaine Pratt, welcome to the nation. Pete Carroll, John Spytek, yet again, making a smart move for the Silver and Black.